Hello everyone, my name is Errol and I'm going to show you how to create this, an invoice report by customer created in the Web Report Designer for Method CRM. Let's get started by creating a new report. Log into your Method account and click your profile icon in the upper right. Select account settings and scroll all the way to the bottom to find report and print templates, which we'll click. This shows all the reports and print templates in our account, and we want to click New to create a new report. I'll give it a name and a description, name it what you like, and then for the base table, we will search for and then select the invoice table. We don't need to set anything else up, so click Launch Builder to bring up the Web Report Designer. This green notification pops up in the upper right to indicate that it saved your report. And there we go, we've created a brand new report, but it has nothing in it. Let's start off by making this report list all the invoices in our account. To do that, we need to pull data from the Invoices table, and we can find that by clicking this database icon, expanding our Method account name, and then expanding the invoice table itself. Here are all the fields from that table. There are a lot of them, and you may be thinking, which fields do I want to show? Well, there is a handy article on the Help Center called Invoice Table Common Fields, and you can look at the section depending on whether you sync to QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Desktop. In this article, we show an image of the invoice screen and how each field's text box relates to each field in the invoice table. For this example, I'll stick with the transaction date, the reference number, and the balance remaining. Going back to our designer, let me find the transaction date. Good thing it's in alphabetical order. And I will drag this into this section called Detail 1. Now I'll find the reference number and drag that in as well. And finally, I'll drag in the balance remaining. And then I'll save. Now I'll preview this report by hitting this preview icon. There we go. It's not formatted very well. It's ugly, but we'll fix that. Oh, and note that you won't see all of your invoices in here. It just pulls in a few to give you an idea of what it will look like. Click this designer icon to exit the preview. Don't click close, because you'll close the report like I've done many times recording this video. I'm going to select the transaction date field so I can fix its formatting. On the right menu, I'm going to click the gear icon, and this will bring up the properties of the field I just selected, the transaction date. Down here, we can click this ellipsis beside text format string, and I will change it to this year, month, day format. There's a very high chance you won't want it formatted this way, but it's my video and I like it that way. I'll hit OK, and next we'll format the balance remaining. It's in the same place, text format string, and I will have it show a $sign. So we'll click currency, the $sign is the default, so we'll just click OK. And then finally, the reference number. We're going to change its format as well. Click the General tab at the bottom and type in a number sign for the prefix. Or maybe you call it a pound sign, or possibly a hashtag for the young and trendy ones watching this. Click OK, and then hit the preview button. There we go, it's formatted how we like. I'll go back to the designer and save this. Now you may have noticed this section here called Detail 1 acts like a template for each row in your report. The report will pull in all the invoices you have in your account and then display each invoice as you have defined in this Detail 1 section. We set it up to only show 3 fields from our invoice, but you can definitely set it up to show more. For now, I'm going to change one other thing. There's too much space between each invoice, so I will shrink Detail 1 by first selecting it. This is important. If you don't select it, you can't resize it. And then from the bottom, I'll drag it up. Great. Now, when I preview it, huzzah, I've saved so much space. Okay, back to the designer, and next up, we're going to group the invoices by the customer. In the Properties panel, you will need to find the Insert Group Header Band button. It's small and it won't show up if you don't have the gear button selected. And if you accidentally have a field selected, see, with this field selected, some other little square icons show up. So click on the gray area to select the report itself, and then click the Insert Group Header Band button. That's a long name for a button. It creates this new section, or a new band, called Group Header 1. Into this new band, we need to drag in another field. So click the database icon on the right menu, and just like we did last time, we're going to drag in an invoice field, but this time we will drag in the customer field into the Group Header 1 band. Make sure it goes to the top of the band so that when we select our group header band, we will be able to drag it to make it smaller. On the right, click the gear to switch back to the properties, and in the group header properties, expand this section here called Group Fields. Click the plus icon, and then under Group By, if you haven't figured it out by the title, we want to find the customer field. I'll save that, and then preview the report, and there we go. Some of our customers are on 2 lines, but that's simple enough to fix with styling. Go back to the designer, and to make it wider, I'll expand the box for our customer field. And then in its properties, I'll scroll down and expand appearance. I'll then expand font and make it bold and increase the size. Oh, let me put a bit of spacing in between each customer. So I'll select the group header, make it a tad bit bigger, and then reposition our customer field. Save, and then preview. Ta-da! Now we can see a list of our customers with their invoices. But we're not done yet. Let's add a summary total of all the invoices each customer has. We want to add another band, but this time it's the group footer band. So make sure your customer field isn't selected, and then click the Insert Group Footer Band button. This will create this purple band called Group Footer 1. Now select the field Balance Remaining, and in the upper left, click the copy icon. Don't be alarmed that the paste icon doesn't become available. You need to click the band it will go into first. So we will click the Group Footer 1 band, and then click the paste icon. Drag that newly pasted field right under the first balance remaining field, and then in its properties, expand summary, and change the running drop down to group. This will give a total sum of all the invoices for this customer. I'm going to click the Group Footer 1 band to shrink it, and now let's give it a preview. There we go. It's looking good, but I'll style it up even more, so back to the designer. First, I noticed our balance remaining fields were left aligned, so I'm going to select the first one, and in its properties, I'll expand appearance, and we'll change text alignment to top right. And then, we'll do the exact same thing to the balance remaining group summary field. Next up, I'm going to drag in a line to separate the individual balances from the total summary. And you can watch me struggle doing this because placing this simple line was beyond my skill level. And finally, let's drag in this A, which is the label, and for its text, we will call it total, and then we'll bold it and make its font bigger, and we'll top right align it as well. Now, let's give this a preview. Huzzah! Our report is pretty much done. There are a lot of things you can do further for this report. You can add a report header, the date and time, the page numbers, your logo, any number of things. But that is beyond the scope of this video. Please see our Help Center for more information on how to pretty up your report. But we're not done yet. We need to customize Method so you can filter and view this report. So let's save our report one last time and close it. Then on the left menu, we will go back to the dashboard. And on the Invoices app, we will click this vertical ellipsis and we will find the reports. Because if you didn't know, there are these visual charts for invoices. Scrolling down, we have a chart for invoices by customer. How convenient. And if we go back up and change the range to last month, all the charts also change to show the invoices for last month. We're going to utilize this page. So at the top, beside the invoices title, we will click this down icon and choose Customize Screen. We can't change a published stock screen, so we will click Edit and then create a copy of the screen. In case we utterly destroy it, we will always have a backup. Scrolling down a bit, you will find this section called All Invoices by Customer, and it holds the chart that shows all invoices by customer. We also have invoices and charts further down for overdue invoices by customer and one for paid invoices by customer. But the report I made was all invoices with the remaining balances, so we'll stick with that and go back to that section. In this All Invoices by Customer section, we'll click this plus icon by rows, and that adds another row cell in this section. And into this, we will drag this text object, which allows us to display text on the screen. Select that text object, and in its properties, change its text to View Invoices by Customer Report, and then save it. Now back to that text object, I'll select the down triangle, and then we will select click for the click event. What happens when a user clicks this text object? Up pops this action set, and we will search for and add the generate report action. In other words, when someone clicks our View Invoices by Customer Report text, we want to generate our report. What report do we want to generate? Well, the one we just made, the Invoices by Customer Report. And now we have all these parameters to fill in. The most important thing to fill in here is the filtering. Which invoices do we want to show? Which records do we want to display? And we can define that by this criteria builder. Now, before you go wild with adding conditions, we can copy this from somewhere else. Where? Well, from the chart that is already filtering itself based on what the user selected. Remember? So we'll close this and select our Invoices by Customer chart and click its Chart Builder button. And look, here's the selection criteria for the chart, so we'll just copy this for our Generate Report action. We'll go back into our text object we made by selecting the down triangle and selecting its click event, and then back into the Generate Report action, and we'll click the Open Criteria Builder to fill it out. Let's add our first condition. We only want the records where its transaction date field is greater than or equal to the date set on the screen in the From field. We'll make sure it compares on the dates and not the time. Add another condition where we also want to make sure the record's transaction date is less than or equal to the date set in the To field, and again compare using date only. Basically, we want to make sure we select only records in between From and To, and these are updated when the user selects something in the Date Range field. The third criteria is to make sure the sales rep of the invoice matches the sales rep the user chose. Now, this account is on QuickBooks Desktop, so it uses sales reps. If you happen to be on QuickBooks Online, then we would use Assign To instead. QuickBooks Online doesn't use sales reps. That's it for criteria, so we'll go back and only a few more changes. Change Filter Safeguard to Always Generate, and then for Store Report In, type in Result, All Invoices Report, and then in the drop-down where it says New, click it. Great! I'll quickly put in an internal note so I know what this action is doing, and then I'll close it, and then I'll close the designer. Does it work? Well, I'll scroll down and click the text we created. And huzzah! Here's our report, and it only has the invoices from this month because that was the default date range selected. Let me just show you the browser tabs to make this easier to jump back and forth. And I'll go back and select a new range, last month, and now we'll look at the report again. Ta-da! This shows the invoices from last month. And if you still don't believe me, I can go back and change my date range and show you other subsequent reports. Amazing. The filtering works. And that's all I wanted to show you. One final thing. This report screen you customize yourself will not be seen by any other user in your Method account because it's still in draft mode. So after you've made all the changes you've wanted, select click here in this blue banner. You will get some information on how versioning works, but let's click publish so all our users can see our new report screen, and then let's verify this by hitting publish again. And we're done. We finished with creating our new report and putting it in Method. I hope you learned something. I know I did, and thanks for watching this video. Bye-bye.